Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody all around the world. And thank you for joining us today for another Left 4 Dead 2 competitive shoutcast. My name is MK. I'll be your caster and cameraman for today. Also accompanied here with Rails Barlow. How you doing, Rails?
I'm doing really well, MK. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Looks like we're going to get this game live right away. Don't even have time to get everything ready, but it looks like opening here will be Boomer. Boomer goes in, doesn't land. It looks like they're going to send in the Spitter Hunter and Jockey. Jockey's going to get a scratch, another scratch. Spit goes out, and quite an awkward first hit coming out here, Rails.
Oh yes, and these teams have indeed agreed to equalize pings. This is the first round of the Mase Cup 2024. I am so glad to be casting this game with you here today, MK. We do have a best-of-one game on IO Los Angeles here between teams Vaso de Leche and O is You. This is Dead Before Dawn, and for those that obviously don't know, this is one of the competitive standards now in the comp community when it comes to custom maps. So I am extremely excited to see how both of these teams play this. And honestly, for Vaso de Leche on Survivor side, they're going to be trying to, I don't know, just probably not take a whole lot of damage on this hit here because that tank's going to be up at 47%. We haven't even really had time to do a roster rundown, but I'm excited to see exactly how this goes. That's a beautiful triple cap landing momentarily with that Boomer also landing a proxy. I think that Smoker actually did not quite land for too long at all, but that Charger landed and that Hunter landed as well, MK. Both these teams from two different regions playing on that neutral server, and they are all red ping, and they equalized with that fake lag as well right before we started.
Yes, they did. We'll get pings up in the chat, but as we have here for Vaso de Leche, we will have Cannoli, Peewee. I cannot pronounce these other ones. Looks like I'm just going to pass on that one, and I'm going to say I'll pass it over to OSU.
Cito Gominola and I'm sorry, my Spanish is ticking, and also Sayonara for Vaso de Leche. And for Team Osu, we have Team Moon and other people, Nemo being one, and then two players who we can't necessarily say because that is a language we unfortunately don't know. But the tank is up for Team OSU in the hands of Team Moon right now. Why Team Moon, I should say.
Thank you very much for helping with the names. I knew I was going to butcher it from the gate, but okay, this is pre-tank, so let's go over the damage. We have 84.7 bonus left, so they got a little bit more than 15% down. Tank is in the hands of Timon. It looks like he is trying to get his hittable into play. First pass, 15% and dropping, and it looks like they're going to try to sack this Boomer, and it's going to get popped. And I didn't see the death order rail, so I'm not quite sure what they're going to have.
Me either, and honestly, this is pretty much one of two tanks that you get on the first map of Dead Before Dawn. It's all really down to how this tank decides to hit his hittables in. He's got the one sedan forward already, and he does have another hatchback close to the survivors over there. I believe there's a dumpster that you can bring in as well, but he's just going to be knocking the sedan around. Already on second pass, trying to get this in, because that was indeed the alarm card. You can still kind of see it blinking. And the survivor's always a little bit scared of that just in case it does go off, but this is going to be the commit with a Smoker, Charger, and a Hunter for the SI support. That actually ricochets into the hatchback and almost clips Rochelle. That was some insane Left 4 Dead 2 physics right there, but the tank did not get an in-cap off it, so he's going to be committing in just under 5,400 health right now, I should say, as that stand also goes over the survivor's heads. They're kiting away from him. The Charger's going to go and gets a stumble. Car goes in and does manage to land onto Cannoli right there as the rest of the support comes in now. Smoker going for a pull on Nick, but the tank is going to get the kill onto Cannoli. That was a beautiful car hit as the survivors were transitioning. That Charger got a little bit of a stumble. Rock, though, does not register as there is still one hit left, but he's actually just going to pub grind the survivor out. He's down to 1k HP. That's going to be the Hunter and the Smoker landing and another in cap. Going on to Nick, and that car goes whipping over the survivors' heads. Long arm landing right there onto Ellis. What a beautiful tank to start this off for Team O is you, MK.
Yes, this is quite a start for them. Jockey's going to land for a little bit more damage. They'll survive, but at the cost of Cannoli's life. Also, some of the members on OSU, one thing to note here, Rails, I believe this is part of Korea Gaming, some of the members from that. I did see Timon play with them, or Amigami, one of the two, so some of these players look familiar, but some of them I might not know. I don't know if you remember any of the other ones, but I do remember one of them as they send the Boomer in.
I honestly have no idea when it comes down to it, but when we were talking about this tournament specifically, right, because things have kind of changed, Rochelle's also getting boomed and spat on. I think for Team Vaso de Leche, that is obviously not the start that they want, because that transition they did as they were kiting away from the SI, like, that's one of the only chances that the SI actually get to make any kind of play happen here whatsoever. That tank is usually maybe, like, one or two in caps that the survivors play. At Fear Factory, my squad for this tournament likes to play it a bit further forward, as I think we saw in the match earlier this week. And it's just like, you know, when that happens, this gives Team OSU a tremendous chance to kind of take advantage of what's been happening so far in this game. And they're going for the quad cap right now. The Hunter does get annihilated by those Uzis. Jockey is going to slide off of Nick as that Charger also does not land. So the tri-cap doesn't go, and the Smoker actually wasn't even able to spawn on that MK. But nonetheless, you know, this is going to be a pretty gritty game, I think, just because of the high pings. Expect to see some wild special infected play, and, you know, Team Vaso de Leche, they're just looking to get the most they can out of this first map so far, because it can be pretty consequential in this campaign.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, the quad went in. The Smoker didn't even spawn. Now the Smoker spawns way ahead of all of his teammates. The spawns are coming from the front. Smoker is already dead. Hunter's going to go in alone. He does manage to land, so the pound spit lands with a boom at the end. So even though the Smoker goes in first, I think that was a pretty successful hit for the set of spawns that OSU does have there. So I think that was pretty, I would have to say, well done from the Infected, even though the Smoker stacked the hit there, Rails.
Yeah, I think the reason that they did that is because they're going explicitly for the quad caps as much as possible at this point. Just get a 4-on-3 at every possible opportunity and kill Team Vaso de Leche at the soonest possible time. This is going to be another quad as the survivors are inside the house, as I just mentioned. Let's see exactly where they choose to send it. We've got the Charger looking for some kind of rocket spawn. Looks like they're actually going to wait until the survivors come out into this little yard here. Reason for that, of course, is because if they were in that kind of close quarters, one, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of hit or miss, because when you have high ping like that, it might be harder to shut down the SI. But when you're playing SI with high ping too, you're trying to guarantee that kind of elevation so that you can get onto the survivors before they can really react. This Charger, though, is looking behind the survivors now, changing things up just a little bit. Smoker's going for a pull forward with the Hunter and the Jockey on top of the roof, but this is a very dangerous game for Team Vaso de Leche. They have 2 sets of pills left, but they do have 2 survivors bleeding as well, with 1 in full bleed. You know, and at this point, MK, I think they're honestly just trying to make the save from as this baiting timer is kicking in a little bit now, forcing them forward, something that we do know in this version of Zone Mod can be quite impactful when it comes down to how the survivors are forced to move. And indeed, this is going to be the Jockey landing. Hunter's going in, not going to land. Charger is going to land, though, as the Jockey is going to get cleared. So that was almost a triple cap there, MK, but they only got a couple of pins in sequence there versus anything at the same time.
Yeah, considering they have 3 survivors left, their bonus was just a little bit more than 34% at the kill of the tank. So right now they have gotten this far, lost 10% of their bonus, so I think right now they'll be happy with it. They know there's a 2-2 incoming, and it's not the greatest. There's no Smoker to initiate, no Charger to get damage. It's only the Jockey and the Hunter. They should send it quick. Jockey's jumping around. Event has been started. I believe Jockey is shut down. Hunter does not get the DP, gets skeeted at the end. Spinner's going to go in, delay them into the tunnel. Boomer dies at the end, and it looks like it will be at least one more quad attempt before the end of this chapter, Rails, as they find one more set of pills. Bonus is at 25.5%. Let's see how much they can hold on to this with this quad incoming, and it's going to be hard to block all these spawns, Rails, so they're going to have quick access to the survivors.
Yeah, so this is going to be super duper interesting. Just because the survivors,
they're going
what they're going to do, indeed they are. This is going to be the Hunter managing to land. Charger's going to go in, whiffs on the 2 survivors. The Hunter has landed in the front with that Smoker now getting a pin as well. But MK, what I was going to say right before that is that this is going to be quite challenging for that wipe to kind of go out, just because the survivors have such a long tunnel to play with. You know, they can kind of spread themselves out to where there are no stumbles, and now you see they're kind of shifting their positioning just a bit, because one survivor in the back there can pretty much block all the spawns, and Ellis can block all the spawns to the right, but they've got about 200 ping, a bunch of common, and 4 special infected just whipping their way in there. Jockey's gonna die first again, and you know what, MK? I gotta mention this so far. This is literally perfect sequencing of the special infected by Team OSU. Even that 2-2 doing a decent amount of damage there. And the reason I mentioned that, MK, is that, you know, I think what became kind of the standard for SI play in some ways is what Frag4/Rehab/Pubstar did, which is they decided to say, you know what, we're going to go for a quad at almost every possible opportunity, and there has not been one example on this first map where OSU has not been able to replicate that themselves.
Nope, and they're going to have a quad at the end, but it's going to be very difficult to land. They're going to go right away. Smoke's going to get a pull. Hunter gets skeeted from far away. The Charger goes for a long charge, does land. Oh, it actually almost gets tri-cap there. And they will survive. Walk in with 69 bonus, and I think it'll be 69. Since there's 3 survivors, that math works out, and they will manage to accumulate a little bit more than the normal. It's 400 distance, and they managed to get it. and +3. So I think it's a win if you're survivors, considering you had somebody die during the tank, Rails. What do you think? Would you be happy on high ping with just making it when you lost someone at the tank?
I agree with you. That was a way for Vaso de Leche to really grit out a bit of that chapter, because honestly, there are so many opportunities where they could have wiped. One thing I will say is obviously this map is fairly open, but they survived the horde, they positioned themselves decently, they took damage, but they didn't die. Now the real question is, what is going to happen on this survivor half? Mostly because, you know, for Team OSU, they are really, really going to have to just, like, avoid catching a hittable on this tank, because I really don't think there's another way for the survivors to get totally, like, decimated by it. I will say, though, with this first hit going in, we're going to be seeing it really isn't throwing them for a loop that much. I say this as Rochelle is getting absolutely destroyed by this jockey. That's 20 damage on that first hit, but I think the pause had a little bit to do with that, and then the spitter also does go in for a couple ticks of damage as well. And, you know, all things considered, MK, they still got 36 damage off a 2-2 on the first hit.
I do, but I don't think the spitter should have went. Now they're going to have a charge without a spitter unless they just want to go for a quad attempt. I didn't see if the sack order was right, Rails, so if they don't have a quad, it's a bad play. If they do have a quad, then I'm going to eat my words, but we'll know in a few more seconds as the SI are getting set up above this little awning on the next hit. It's going to be a quad attempt before the tank. I eat my words, Rails, and they're going to go right away. Smoker goes early before everybody was ready, and it's already dead. Charger gets 1 fist, 2 fists, Jockey gets M2'd, Hunter lands, stumble, and more punches from the Charger. And that's a lot of damage going out onto the survivors. It's already about 11%. And right now, I would have to say Vaso de Leche got a pretty good amount of damage pre-tank, Rails, just as the other team did.
Yeah, for Team Vaso de Leche, this is something where I think we're going to see this on both sides. The tank is up for them in the hands of Cannoli. One thing we're going to see is that on a high ping game like this, especially where it's completely, like, you know, as close to perfectly balanced as possible with that fake lag, you know, you're going to see some SI damage in ways that you wouldn't normally see on low ping right there. Jockey into a smoke with a 2-boom. It really does give the SI a chance, you know, to do more than they would if these two teams maybe had like 50 latency each or something like that. And Cannoli's going to have a chance to get this car in while the survivors on high ping are also fighting off a horde. There really is a lot to be said for the team cohesion on both sides so far. Pee-wee and Infected Chad, as you can see as well, calling out Jockey, Hunter, and Charger. But this tank has kind of whacked his car to the side. Cannoli has to be careful here, because if he doesn't get this sedan in the next couple of punches, then he's going to be really, really close to going second, and he's going to need to get set on the survivors before he goes AI. He can't really screw with it that much, and he's not going to be able to get it. He's going to have to keep pushing and just get the other hatchback. If he keeps doing this, he's going to go AI. I'm calling it now. He actually might be AI just because he's been screwing with this car. He's going to have to hit in a couple of hits right now and then just immediately plus forward towards the survivors. I don't think he can actually get that. And indeed, he's going to maybe try. Nope, he's not going to be able to. Well, he's going to take a little bit of chip for it, and he's still kind of working in. He's on 20%. He's got to be super careful as that car now ricochets in. He is going to make it in a way that will allow him to use it, and he does knock it towards the survivors once again, and there's the car hit landing from the hatchback, not the other car, onto the survivors once again. Beautiful play by Cannoli, getting the rock on that as well. He's going to throw another rock onto Nick with that hatchback, and the jockey is landing on the opposite side. It's disaster for both sides, and he managed to make great use of both of those hittables at the end when everything was said and done. He's on second pass, 3,700 HP, already a kill and a half out onto the survivors, essentially. He's going to be jumping onto the top of the gas station roof as the survivors are pushing forward, and the hatchback goes spinning in again as a single boom goes out. Now he's going to give up on the other sedan, which would be the alarm car, still just playing with the hatchback, knocking it past the survivors, who are now just fully plus forwarding into the rest of this map. But the tank is actually now still in danger of going AI once again. He's down to 25% on his frustration meter, and he's going to have to try to keep signing them now. He's at 5%, and he is AI this time, MK. So this is an example now where the survivors decide, okay, we have somebody dead, we have a 3k HP AI tank, and they're going to have to deal with a quad. So this is getting kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, this is going to be very intense. They have a few seconds away from having the quad, but the tank's HP is dropping so fast they're going to go with them right now. The tank is dead. The smoker lands. Hunter tries to cover, but the Charger takes the target, and they're not going to die. Can the smoker get it? No, the clear happens, but there's so much damage going out, and it's probably going to be about the same when it's all said and done. Rails, they survive. Their bonus is at 20%. The pills are popped, and we almost have a mirror of what happened on the other side.
I mean, I think that was actually better by Vaso de Leche. Amazing tank by Cannoli. to use that first alarm car as leverage. He was on the last bit of his rage meter. I was worried for him because there are those times when you still have like 10 or 15% rage, and you're like staring at the survivors, and if there's fog or anything else impeding it, or even like a pole or a rock or another car, you can lose the tank. He managed not to, and then he utilized the hatchback that was a little bit closer to get that initial in cap onto Nick. Amazing SI play by Vaso de Leche, and they are going to be, you know, this is going to be within probably like an 100-point game when all is said and done here, because OSU are not quite dead. Charger does go in magic to land, but then does get cleared. Jockey's bouncing around, trying to land on Rochelle, does get killed, but indeed the sack order on Special Infected is pretty darn good for the meta, as well as they do have the Liquids dying last there. Coach is a little bit behind, but as you can tell, MK, OSU are getting every little bit of distance that they can, and this is going to be an airtight game going into map 2.
Yes, it is. They managed to get into the building. Their bonus is at 18.4. I mean, it is not terrible. I mean, they want to make it to the safe room. That's their goal right now. I think they'll be happy with just making it without bonus, considering they're crawling. At least Vaso de Leche was a little quicker at this point, but they're going to slow it out, clear out all these common rails. We know where the quad's coming. It's going to be on the transition outside. The question is, can they land it? Hunter's in position, Charger's in position, Jockey is in position, Smoker's going to pull forward. I think the infected locations are pretty good. The Charger actually is probably not the best, but they're going to go in. Smoker lands, it's going to be a 2-cap. The Jockey's going to cover, and that's going to be a wipe. The clears were so slow there, Rails, and a great job by the infected.
Yeah, so that was a beautiful SI round by Vaso de Leche in total, right? And the whole point is, like, that first tank that we saw on the opposite half where that kill went out, it was super important for Vaso de Leche to make the safe room, because like I said, that still showed that they have the grit, they have the tenacity to keep pushing on after somebody dies, and now we get into the situation where their SI played even better than their survivor, and it does give them a small lead to start off here. You know, when you have teams that are excellent, you know, I remember Frag 4, you know, and they're kind of an anomaly, you know what I'm saying, where it's like, oh, we have 300 ping, we're going to beat somebody on their home server because we're going to make the safe room in at least 2 maps, and we're on our way. When you have teams that are really good still, though, who are playing on high ping and they're pretty evenly matched, you know, 150 points could be consequential when all is said and done. This tank being at 74% here, though, now does give Team OSU a chance to do a lot of damage on this event that we're going to see coming up, just because of the high ping, and also a lot more hits prior to that tank actually going out. So it really does depend on how each team uses the map, and this is something right now where if your team Vaso de Leche, you're going to want to continue that survive performance, make the safe room again, and just do the absolute best you can with what the SI are giving you when it comes to these hits.
All right, and we all spec up for him. This tank is going to be a late tank. I like this tank fight, Rails. It's going to be on top of the building, so anything can happen. It's going to be very interesting to see where the survivors play it. Also, this opening hit can be dangerous if the survivor team do not cover the spawns. Right now, they are completely vulnerable in the back, and no one is taking notice to it. Nick is there by himself. There is a spawn behind that door, but it looks like the infected are content with taking it outside. I don't know, Rails. There was opportunity there, but it looks like the infected want no part of it. They want to hit out in the foliage here, and probably a lot of them are going to rocket spawn off the top of that bridge.
Yeah, with the Charger, Spitter, Smoker, Jockey here, they're trying to guarantee the charge spit somehow. And like I said, using that height advantage, like I kind of mentioned on map 1, is what people usually go for, just because a rocketing Charger on 200 ping is kind of hard to deal with. But this is going to actually be the hit going in now, with that Charger rocketing in, but getting cleared excellently by Vaso de Leche, as the Jockey does land for a couple bits of damage, and the Smoker does take the Jockey's target as well. So that's a little bit more, because obviously Smokers now do 5 damage in like 3 seconds, not even on this version of the config, which, you know, has its positives and negatives in terms of my evaluation. But all in all, pretty good take by Vaso de Leche, and they're going to be able to start that event. If you notice, though, MK, OSU are keeping that Spitter for a very specific reason, that being that the survivors, not just because of the box truck, but because of the survivors usually trying to take it in a room. We do have a boomer pop going out as well, and here comes the charge spit attempt. Charger is not going to land. Spitter is now going to go and is going to die. Rochelle and Coach are split, as this Hunter is kind of just bouncing around in the middle, does manage to land onto Pee-wee for a hot second, but Osito Gaminola takes that clear very, very effectively.
Yeah, they do, and that means they will have no Spitter and no Hunter for the next hit. They'll have Tricap with Boom. Survivors will go inside this room for this hit, because it'll be the least, probably the most advantageous spot for the Survivor team, I would say, as that last spawn comes up. Is a Charger indeed. Let's see what they can make of it. 91 point 94.1% bonuses. Spawns go in. Nothing gets anything, Rails. It's a clean shutdown. Boomer dies at the end. Good stack, and they'll have Tri-Cap with Spit coming up with the next set of spawns. And beautiful shutdown by Vaso de Leche.
Yeah, I'm honestly impressed by what Vaso de Leche has done so far, just because, like, this is one of my first times, I think. I've seen a few of them play in Left 4 Dead 2 Center, you know what I mean? And plus, I mean, this is something where the scene has become just so gorgeously international over the past few years. But at this point, you know, going up against tough competition in a tournament setting like this, they are moving together, they're hitting together, they're doing everything they possibly can. Jockey's gonna land, Charter's gonna get a stumble, Spit is gonna go in on a pounce, and that's going to be a decent amount of damage. But if you notice, MK, pretty much in perfect sync, they transitioned out of that room, went back through the map, and kind of gave themselves room to deal with that Spitter versus having to deal with the Charger directly in their face with 200 ping, as I mentioned before.
Indeed. Now the event's over. Now they go inside. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to have a Spitter for inside here. This is not a great attack at all for inside here, in my opinion, Rails. I think they need to send this quickly. Hunter spawns up. Jockey spawns up as well. Hunter gets cleared a little slowly. Jock in the back does get cleared quickly, too. So I think that's a pretty good take by Survivors. 84.7 bonus left. That's 4 hits in, Rails, and they're averaging a little bit less than 5% per hit.
Indeed, this Smoker is going to hide in the corner until pulling Ellis right down from that wooden beam, but that's not going to stop the Survivors from going in here and actually opening the door. I thought they were going to kill the Smoker, honestly, so they could get the Charger, Jockey, Spitter, Hunter combo, but instead they're going to go with just the Charger, Spitter, Hunter, I think, maybe, as the Survivors push inside. One of two things is going to happen here. Either someone's going to take a decent amount of damage on Vaso de Leche, or they're going to manage to juke that Charger inside, because Vaso de Leche are really controlling the pace right now on Survivor side. That's not actually going outside, maybe to try to take advantage of that. That's going to be a pounce Spit landing. Jockey does get a couple jerks onto Rochelle for a hot second too, but that is going to be pretty much all they wrote. And indeed, the tank is now going to be up for Team O is you into the hands of Nemo. Let's see exactly what they can do on this MK, and this tank, you know, it can be really, really chaotic depending on what happens here, because we got 2 levels the Survivors can go on, and of course there's a roof that somebody can get yeeted or charged or punched off of it in some degree.
Yeah, I think we're going to probably see the Boomer sack. They're going to probably want to Tri-Cap without the Charger. That would be the best set of spawns for this area. The Boomer will land, which will bring out about a dozen or so common to be cleared up. Nemo is getting in position. It looks like he is not going to send it in. Rock does get skeeted beautifully by Rochelle over there. And it looks like the Infected, he's going to go in right now. There's actually quite a bit of comment trickling in here. Smoker is really late to the party. Survivors have all transitioned. He's down 3,500. Oh, the Survivor is up top. This is going to be detrimental for the Survivor team. It's going to be a wipe going out. And gets a clear.
No.
Is it? They're dead? That's a wipe, Rails.
Dead. MK, you heard me say it as you were beautifully casting that tank commit. As soon as Ellis, that being Cannoli, was caught up top, he didn't transition off the roof with the rest of his team, and that's kind of what I was alluding to a second ago when I was like, you know, there are multiple levels to this. If he isn't going with the rest of his squad, getting separated like that, not only is he separated on top of a ladder and on top of a roof with a tank in play, but the rest of his team are flipping out. They're going, why isn't our 4th Survivor down here with us? That opens up the Tri-Cap with the Jockey and the Smoker both being able to land, plus the tank getting his corner. That was absolutely gorgeous capitalization on a Survivor mistake that the tank forced. Right, that tank by Nemo really, really did a great job of pushing the Survivors when there was still common as well. They took advantage of the chaos, and now they find themselves in a gorgeous position to actually take the lead in this game.
Yep, and here we go live. Opening hit they're going to have will be Tri-Cap with the Spitter. It will not be accompanied by the Hunter. They're going to be excluded on this first hit. Again, look at the opening in the back rails. No one makes a play on it. I'm telling you, if you can jock that guy in the safe room, that is an in cap with the Charger back there. Look at the separation. I don't know, Rails. I think that's the opportunity that should be taken. 3-on-1 in the safe room. I like those odds.
Yeah, Nick is trying to do the best that he can to block all of those spawns by standing in the safe room and spawn blocking that. And now as he starts to move up from the tunnel, that's going to signal to the SI that the Survivors want to go forward. Let's see when exactly they decide to dive them, however, because this baiting timer is now ticking down from just about 24 seconds. It's going to be that Spitter, Jockey, Charger, Smoker, as it was on the last opening hit, but they haven't decided to send it yet because the Survivors are still kind of inching their way forward. Now they go in. There's the Smoker landing. Charger manages to land on Ellis as well in the open field. I had no idea that was going to land. That was a gorgeous charge and a nice spit down on top of that as well. And we are seeing MK 99 damage on the first hit.
That couldn't have gone any better for Vaso de Leche. Or Leche, however you pronounce it. I'm butchering that name.
It's all good. We're all learning.
But they have got just the amount of damage in one hit that the other side got in 4. And they haven't even started the event yet, Rails. And the next hit comes in is 2-2, though. Will be accompanied by the Hunter and the Smoker for cappers. So we'll be a retro cap with the Spitter. Smoker lands. Hunter's going to cover it. They're just going to team up.
Oh, the spit missed!
Misses, though.
Yeah, so this is something else that we kind of have seen as the game has evolved. And it's that anytime you can stack damage, you try to actually stack the damage. Because back in the day, it was like, okay, in that scenario, the Hunter would have wanted to go for some kind of intercept, but instead to guarantee the spit damage, you know, in 2015 it was the pull charge spit, in 2024 we got the pull pounce spit, and we got the, okay, let's pounce the Survivor and have the Charger just completely yeet himself into a wall in the way that obviously takes the most skill I've ever seen. Speaking of that, we have a quad cap attempt going in, as this Charger is punching the absolute living daylights out of Rochelle in that corner. So each one of these hits is doing at least a little bit of damage. Had that spit landed on the last hit, it would have maximized it a little bit more. But like we kind of expected from a game like this, you've got the SI making plays.
Yes, they do. I mean, look at the damage, Rails. 3 hits are gone out, and they have managed to get 72.8% left on the bonus. That's almost 10% per hit. You'd be very happy with Infected if you're doing that. A 1-boom proxy goes out, and it looks like the rest of the Infected hit are going to hold for a stair attack. And I'm not sure what spawn it's going to be, Rails. It might be a Charger, or it might be a Smoker, but I didn't quite see the order. And Survivors are booking it over there. They don't want to give them the opportunity to have these spawns up. Let's see what they do when they approach the stairs.
No, and Vaso de Leche know that they have to kind of damage control this. Just because now we do have one Survivor in there going for the door open, and he's going to get cleared after being pounced and then pulled in the inverse order, and he's not going to get cleared until he gets in-capped, all because he was pushing for the door. They kind of sacrificed Ellis there just to try to get that play, but the reason I'm saying Vaso de Leche know they have to do damage control is just because of that spectacular wipe that was pushed out onto them, and because this map can be huge if the Survivors actually make it to the safe room. And the tank in the hands of Sayonara is going to have to do a decent amount of work here to try to control this situation. This Charger is kind of camping the ladder as the Hunter goes in, managing to land onto Rochelle. Boomer is going to go and land a single boom onto Ellis. I'm not sure if that's enough to commit with, because our friend the tank is currently, according to my expert calculations, he's currently still inside. I don't know if he can capitalize on this horde here, MK.
No, he's not. He has no cappers in position. The Horde is already dead. It's unfortunate for the Infected team that the Horde did not take a while to get there as it did for the other side. But he will have a tri-cap to go in with. He will have everything he wants except for the Hunter. They should probably sack the Charger quickly, unless they're going to hold it. I mean, it's not terrible, Rails. They can make it work, but I think they're going to hold it. This is it, Rails. Take it away.
Indeed, it is. So Sayonara and the rest of Vaso de Leche are looking to commit probably with these spawns. So the tank is on 70% second pass, and he does indeed start rolling up, but the Survivors are in positions above the tank's head right now. Aside from Rochelle, there's the smoker pull going on Ellis, and nobody cleared Ellis until now, and he actually did drop down to that second level. Rochelle is separated up top. There are 3 Survivors up top, and 1 down below, but Rochelle gets away, and now Nick gets jockeyed in, some double cap with a charge up top. The tank is punching a Survivor that's also on the ladder. He has 1k HP. That was a slow motion train wreck that I saw from my spectator point of view, just because they had 1 Survivor who got delayed in dropping down, and then 2 Survivors who are still up top. I'm talking like it's over because it kind of is. The Charger has killed Coach, as this other Survivor is now trying to kill the tank. That was a very similar situation as that Hunter gets the in-cap onto Rochelle. There's the charge for the wipe. MK, they had 2 drop and 2 stay up top, and Sayonara did the rest. That 2-cap up top was perfect.
Oh, man, it was textbook as it could be right there, Rails. They capped the 2 up top, which made them put them in quite a situation, having them climb up the ladder. The tank just needs to guard it. And I think if there was a chance to kill that, they needed to be super aggressive there with their Survivor and have this Survivor with the Uzi kind of juke that punch out and make a push for it. But it's a lot easier sitting from the caster chair calling it out, Rails, than it is in game.
You are absolutely right. And the thing about it, too, I thought what was going to happen to them is that Ellis was going to get caught up top after that smoker pulling out because they delayed in clearing him. But then once he dropped to the bottom, I think everybody had to drop. You know what I mean? Because in that kind of position there, if you get any kind of separation, it's much easier for the survivors to say, let's go 3-on-2 versus 4-on-4.
Yeah, indeed. But now we're on to map 2. Oh, whoa, look at this, Rails. This is interesting. Okay, this is going to be interesting, Rails. This tank is before the event.
Yep, so I just can't wait for somebody to shoot the alarm.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to be very curious to see what happens if that spawns like right when they start the event, or if it's right going to be after, because you don't want commons involved in that. Plus, this event in general, how long it takes to turn this button off, is quite something to deal with as a survivor team. If the infected team knows what they're doing, it can take a long time to turn that button off. So, depending on if these tanks wipe or not, Rails, the infected are going to have to make a decision. Is this tank worth pushing them back here to make sure we have spawns for that button if we're not going to get the wipe? There's a lot coming into play here.
This is a tank that, in my opinion, rarely wipes, just because it takes a lot for the survivors to actually have that happen in an area that's this wide open. If somebody accidentally shoots the alarm and they get like the equivalent of a quad boom, that kind of makes it easy, or of course, you know, like the standard multi-cap situation. But in an area this open and with this much room, I mean, I usually see tanks doing either 1 or 2 in caps maybe here, depending on what happens, of course, with how the survivors kite them. Because if they like double corner themselves or something, that's something you can't avoid. But it would be really, really surprising to me, honestly, to see a wipe by either side in this spot. But then the question becomes, if you have 1 or 2 survivors who get in capped, how long is it going to take them to turn off the button? Because everyone's also bleeding, you know?
Yes, exactly. But the one good thing for the survivor teams is they'll know their tank fate right away and how much of the map they're going to have to either crawl through or how much they can take it slow, because this event is very long later in the game, Rails.
Absolutely. So we are going to have a Jockey, Boomer Hunter, and a Spitter for Team OSU on the Special Infected side. Very, very tenacious game so far by both teams. SI kind of being the superstars in terms of the tanks and in terms of the support, getting those multi-caps on tanks as well. Either that or kind of random hittable in-cap. But really the multi-caps have been gorgeous by both sides. This tri-cap and the 2-cap. Let's see what this SI for OSU can do as the Hunter is pre-spawned up top. Rochelle doing her best to bait this out of the safe room, that being Pee-wee with the shotgun, playing that high ping shoddy, and doing the best that they can. There's a Hunter getting blown out of the sky, and then the Jockey is going to land onto Rochelle, and is actually going to get a decent amount of damage because Rochelle was also boomed. That's super unfortunate, MK, because Rochelle ground speeded the Hunter and then did get jockeyed for like, 30-some damage.
Yes, and they'll manage to get about 7% of the bonus off for the opening hit without the Hunter landing. You'd be very happy if you're the infected team. Spit at the safe room door. Tank is up, so it will be pre-button. And right now they're going to send that Charger in. He gets a punch onto Ellis. I don't know if the second one landed, but it'll leave a Smoker and Hunter to kind of wait to see what happens as the tank is now in the ceiling, getting in better position.
Indeed, and that's the one part of this too. The survivors need to have a good deal of map knowledge on how to navigate this, and so do the SI, obviously, because if you know the vent system, then you'll be good. But the survivors, the thing about it is, they can't allow themselves to be surprised by the tank cutting them off in the middle, and if I'm the tank, I'm looking for the survivors to kind of fall asleep when it comes to this. Boomer spawns up, does not land, and is not near an ATM either, so that's not going to be an issue, at least for the moment. But the survivors are going to keep kiting here precisely because they don't want the tank to intercept them from the vents above their heads. So let's see if the survivors are actually able to keep doing this for long enough to have the Special Infected, like, maybe be forced to commit and push them in one direction forward, maybe even versus back. Forward is pretty open, but there are a couple wandering commons still standing behind those kiosks and also on top of that umbrella. But it looks as though Team OSU are content to go in with this. Jockey and Hunter are both up. Jockey goes really early, though, and does get shut down. Tank is down to 4K. Hunter's going to go in, trying to land. Does manage to land onto Ellis. That's going to set the tank up for a rock right to his face. Going to be whacking Cannoli into that corner. Now the Smoker is going to go as well. Tank trying to spread the damage a little bit. Does get a punch onto Nick. Another punch onto Nick. But that's going to be all they wrote. And MK, that's kind of what we were expecting in an area that is that wide open, and the Jockey went super early as well, maybe to try to get a stumble, but it did not end up working out.
No, very interesting to choose the Jock first. I thought the Smoker would be first one there, as it's pretty common if they're going to back up. But the Jockey does get shut down. Smoker
like
didn't
5
make the
punches
play.
his tank, and he got close to 1 in cap. But the issue that they have now is that the survivors are going to be dealing with the Horde, but they've already lost their 2 biggest chances to do damage. Charger is going to whiff onto Coach as well. Jockey goes in and does get M2'd by... Oh man, this is really, really interesting now, because this map has one other mini event, but if Team Vaso de Leche somehow make their way to the safe room with any kind of bonus, that's going to put a huge amount of pressure on Team OSU. And it's something where if they don't replicate that exact same thing, shut down the tank with only like 5 punches and no in caps, and then don't have the button be a complete troll, this could be the map that Vaso de Leche are really able to take control of this game.
Yeah, this hit could be very, very good, and the infected could not set up on it. They missed. And this allows the survivors to get down. And they have a quad incoming, so the smoker is going to respawn. They need to get 2 survivors slow to get those pills out. So at the end of this event, Rails, they have 1 person crawling the rest of the map. The infected need to make it up. One thing we didn't go over quick, Rails, is they were at 63% bonus when the tank died, losing 2% on the following hit, I believe, or when they start the button. So that's what we're looking at post-tank, as all the infected ghosts are just stuck in the air for me.
Right, and this is probably the best survivor performance we've seen from either team so far in terms of how Vaso de Leche are doing on this half. It's obviously not game over yet because this Smoker, Charger, Jockey, Hunter can really change things, but the momentum's definitely on the survivor team side right now. There needs to be some kind of like multi-cap or some kind of double charge or something that makes this next hit worth it, because then the survivor's going to be able to basically stand there, spawn block everything, and maybe it's a little bit easier to land on them, or maybe it definitely is a lot easier to land on them with 200 ping versus 50, but positioning is all about this game right now. And now let's see exactly what happens here, because that is a double cap with the Smoker and the Jockey. The Charger got shut down, and I don't know. That's chip damage, but once again, it's not quite panic time for OSU, but it's kind of close to that in my opinion, MK. I get an uneasy feeling if I'm on SI right now.
Yeah, they didn't get any more damage onto the... Well, they got some good spread, but they didn't get it on the survivors they needed. They wanted to get Pee-wee and Sayonara slow. They'll get 3 attacks here before they can progress, and Cannoli's going to pop the pills early. So this is their chance, Rails. I think we should see a stack on Rochelle, then a stack on Nick with the next 3 hits just to get that to happen. Let's see if they can pull it off. So the Charger, Hunter, Spitter, Boomer. Hunter's going to go in first, gets shut down. Oh, it does land. Spit lands. There it is. Okay, they get Sayonara down. That'll be another set of pills now. Now they just need to get on Rochelle, get Rochelle slow. And I think that'll be a successful event for the infected team, in my opinion, Rails, as far as slowing them down for the rest of the map. Oh, they find pills, Rails, so never mind. I take it back.
I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer right now in terms of the competitiveness of the match whatsoever, but the reason that positioning is so important here is because the survivors can literally just have everything funneling from one direction. There's no real spawns around them, and this is how the game can kind of turn. We do have that Hunter getting shut down. Everything came from the door, and it all died. There's nothing else to say about that game.
Yeah, that hit is pretty much what it is. And actually, they'll take a little bit of... Actually, they lose... Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, Rails. They just lost... Oh, he did pop pills, but they lost 8% bonus after that quad.
See, what I'm watching right now isn't even necessarily the bonus percentage, but I just see the number 700 in terms of the bonus in total, and that's why I'm like, okay, so in this, and I love the fact that you pay attention to percentages like that, don't get me wrong, but this is something where if you're looking at that and you're hitting health on the special infected side, you see a 600 or a 700 number. They essentially have 2 or 3 good hits left. What a skeet by Cannoli! Oh my goodness, that is the exclamation point on what this map has been for Vaso de Leche, and they are playing like one of the better teams in the tournament right now, dare I say it, just because of how they're able to make plays like that on the higher ping. That was a hell of a shot by Ellis.
It was a hell of a shot and a very risky play nonetheless. Rails, they're throwing their DB out in the front. That is some big ballsy move. I mean, they must be confident in his skill play, and he's doing it. They're going to have a tri-cap with a Boomer now, no Spitter, by the way. But that is a very ballsy move, in my opinion, as they're going to go now. Charger's going to go in. They're going to stack on Rochelle. And they'll get a couple points down, but since you called out that 700 bonus, it was 2 more hits, and they've only lost 90 more points. And this is going to be the final hit after this, as that Boomer goes in for a stack.
Exactly, and the thing is, Cannoli's doing a great job playing first position shoddy when it comes to this. He managed to get that Hunter kill too on the last hit, and
they wouldn't even get it. They're in.
They're really not, because the Spit's going to be forced to go now, trying to delay something. There is one survivor outside with a Jockey, but he is going to actually get jocked on the right. That's unfortunate, because that took another 50 points off the bonus in a way that was kind of a meme. Hunter is going to manage to land as well. The Charger's going in too and manages to land. Oh my goodness, that was over 130 points off the bonus right there at the end. We knew it was going to be a Hail Mary hit, despite that last hit being more effective than it probably had a right to be, though, MK. That's still an 11 like a 1,168 point chapter. It feels almost alien to say at this point because of how well the survivors played, but Team Vaso de Leche really just proved that they had the momentum in this kind of game, and they need right now to just kind of maintain that as Team OSU. You know, they had an opportunity last map, I think, to take the lead, and also on the first map to take the lead thanks to how their SI played, and now their survivor is going to have to be just a bit more put together, I guess, than the first couple of maps. The reason that I say that is because on Vaso de Leche, even though they're playing with 200 ping, they're saying we're going to still play this game the way that we're used to. We're going to play this game the way that's comfortable for us, and we're going to have people do what they do best, like Cannoli playing first position shoddy and shutting down hunters. So OSU really, really need to try to play the best they can on this map, because as we know, map 4, I mean, it can kind of be a comeback map, but the finale is not what I would bet on if you're behind in this campaign.
No, it's really hard to make a comeback on this finale. Like you said, the tank, almost impossible to get a wipe. It's pretty standard, maybe to get an end cap at most, but the ending could be quite interesting once you get up top trying to get onto that that rescue vehicle. So we'll have to see what happens when that time comes. And I haven't casted this finale yet, if I remember correctly. I don't think I've ever got to cast it, so it'll be very interesting to see it played out as we wait for one more person to get this game live. Again, tank will be at 22%. Opening hit will be Hunter, Jockey, Spitter, and the Boomer, as my spec cut is bugging out dramatically right now. The SI are constantly changing for me. Alright, and we are live now. Let's see what they can do with this opening hit. 2-2. Rochelle goes out first. Ellis is pushing out to the right. Rochelle is kind of baiting the hit, and Infected are holding, waiting for the opportunity to strike on whatever they're going to play on. Man, they're being really patient. All right, spawns are up. The Hunter goes in, gets completely shut down. Spitter goes down next, and the Jockey is just pouncing around, and that'll be 0.4% with that opening hit. And now we're going to have tank. And Pee-wee asking some questions on what happened. And this will be the third tank of the game for Vaso de Leche.
Oh, this is nasty shit.
As the one boom lands, Jockey's going to stay up in the rafters, only minus 9 HP.
Going live right now, and we're never going to have to mention that awful experience again. We do have 2 special infected players rejoining, it would seem. Actually, no, one of them became the tank and the other one rejoined, so Osito Gominola is going to be the tank for Team Vaso de Leche. Let's see exactly what he can do from this advantageous position above the survivors. One of the survivors is still a little bit forward there, MK. They're going to have a Charger Smoker and a Jockey for this special infected support. So no Boomer. And as I said, the ATMs that they can shoot to accidentally trigger the Horde are actually kind of further back. So if they kite back in that direction or get pulled or charged for them, that would be the way that they actually set them off or punch into them. That's kind of a random thing to happen. Then again, this is Left 4 Dead 2. Random things happen pretty regularly in some ways. It's just the nature of the game, and we do have we have a 2-2 split. There's going to be the Smoker pull onto Coach, and the Charger's going to go in and take that actually from the Smoker. Jockey does get M2 and shut down. That is going to be the tank taking the Charger's target for the corner. That is going to be 2 punches on the Coach, 3 punches on the Coach for the end cap, but the tank is going to be getting out with just about 300 HP. MK, so far, in my opinion, this is acceptable for Team OSU.
Yes, it is, but I think their positioning was a bit of a misplay, Rails. They should have been going towards the button. I don't know if you've seen it. They waited an awfully long time to wait, but it's going to work out for the infected. Tank should die, and now they have a full hit on this button, Rails, and they already have a 2-cap with a boom. And I think they need to get over there quickly and get this before the spawn's up, Rails. They need to be there now and get this set off.
All right. I'm going to be honest, I would have been really disappointed had Team OSU played that tank worse than they did, because I want to see a compelling match. I want to see both teams fighting it out here, and indeed that's going to be the Hunter landing, Smoker landing, Boomer dying, and now it's just the Smoker and the Spitter still up. The Smoker's now going to die. Spitter is spawned up, but really isn't doing anything to stop the survivors from getting that button. That is a really nice job by Team OSU, and I am so hyped for this now, because this is actually so far, in my opinion, a better Survivor performance than we saw on the last half. So both teams have really turned up for this third map of Dead Before Dawn in the first round of the Mase Cup 2024. Hunter, Spitter, Jockey, Charger next for Team Vaso de Leche, and there's no reason for the survivors to move forward, really, until all these common are dead, MK.
Yeah, they're all gone. The rest are just stuck outside. They're going to take this inside slow. And yeah, we're going to see no hitting indoors here. It is really hard to get any kind of spawns closely. They have the charged spit. They're going to go around this corridor. And we should see it come in momentarily. Okay, bonus is at 77% post-tank. Let's see how much they'll take on this next hit coming up. Wow, they're really waiting this rail. I can't tell where the SI are because they're like frozen for me.
I think the SI, for some reason here, might be a little shook. Maybe just because in this particular situation, the survivors have really shown that they can play it this way. But that's going to be a nice way to have me caster cursing Team O is you. Just because that jockey gets a beautiful jock forward and the pound spit lands. That's the kind of hits that they need. They knock the bonus down to 900 MK, but that's still a really, really hefty bonus to see here. It's still falling, though, because the survivors are FFing each other, and there's a little bit of common chip as well.
Yeah, they suffered about 200 bonus suffered from that hit there. Great job by Vaso de Leche. So now they're going to have their second set of spawns hitting on this button on the way back. Rochelle hits it. Spawns fall off the infected ladder. I don't think they're going to be able to make a play before they get comfortable. Smoker will land. Charger can't find a target. Hunter does land, but not cleared the quickest. And Charger gets nothing. And that'll be Charger and Smoker to die off at the end, which will leave it for a 2-2 with the jockey and the Hunter rails.
Indeed, it shall. So the survivors, once again, they're going to be showing how positioning really is the name of the game right now and how the game has turned into positioning. And, I mean, this is something where when you see matches like this, this has almost like an elimination bracket or like a playoff caliber atmosphere to it, just because both teams are playing as synchronized as they are. And this Hunter Boomer Jockey Spitter, it's a 2-2. The SI for Vaso de Leche, they've done pretty well so far, but that is going to be a great example of how they can maximize each and every hit. They managed to have the Hunter land and the Spit actually land. It's the most they probably could have asked for in that situation, and even though it's just a little bit of damage, it shows that both these teams are trying the absolute best they can to actually maintain the momentum in this match. It's going to be tough to knock this down, though, I'll say, MK, because I don't know, 58.8% bonus, 906 at this point of the map. That is better than what we saw Vaso de Leche do on their side.
Yeah, they have about 500 to play with. Let's see how much they can hold on to this with. And Hunter's going to go in for scratches. He gets it. Jockey actually manages to land. The Charger goes in, gets a fist. And that's not bad damage at all. They get about 60 from that rails. That's pretty good considering where they were hiding at.
Right, exactly. I mean, they managed to get most of the damage mitigated on Survivor side, but it does indeed knock them down close to 800. It's going to be almost tied if this bonus holds. There are only a couple more hits, I think, for the Survivors to have to really deal with. There's maybe one they can throw in, but if they can manage to land this pounce spit here, that would be probably the best. I mean, obviously a stumble could also go out from the Boomer, but I think Team OSU are going to be content with standing here, taking this position, killing the rest of the horde, using the elevation. Hunter is going to go in managing to land, but that's the thing. The spit is not going to spread onto Coach on top of that. So once again, just because Coach was standing in the spot that he was, that really does most of the work for him. Beautiful play by OSU to minimize that. 790 bonus still that they're carrying as we go forward here. And MK, they are so close to the safe room, and this is going to be a virtual tie, barring catastrophe on this last hit going into map 4.
Yeah, they still have to make this jump over the fence. Some people are struggling, but the infected aren't making a play on it.
Oh,
they
no!
shoot the alarm rails. This could be devastating for them. Look at Ellis.
Now look.
Ellis can't make it over. He's stuck.
Look, if they had just gone around, none of this happens. That's going to be a smoker pull going out. Chargers going Fist City onto him, managing to land. That is an example of a team losing 250 bonus just because they wouldn't walk around the damn mall. They literally needed to just not do that, and instead they try to go for the skip. The skip is great if everybody can do it, but it's harder to do when it's on 200 ping. And it's also something where in a situation like that, you know, it's kind of unnecessary. If you've practiced it a million times, then it's easier to do something like that. But instead, 250 bonus comes off of their score. Boomer's going to get popped. Spitter trying to get something here. Hunter and the Smoker are the two other spawns for Team Vaso de Leche, but that's going to maintain Vaso de Leche's lead, basically, as that Hunter does go in and manages to land with a spit going down on top of that. So that's the most, honestly, the absolute most that Team Vaso de Leche could have looked for, and that's going to allow them to maintain their lead going. This really was Team OSU's chance to move in front, but instead they only make up a little bit of ground there, MK. It's just the last 2 hits for each team were unnecessary damage on both sides, but I think it really did hurt Team OSU more.
Yes, it did, and sure, it's so unfortunate you can't make that jump. There's a certain way you got to do it, and it looks like maybe lack of practicing on the map from some of the players might be showing through. Who knows? But just like you said, if you can't do it, walk around, and they capitalized on the separation, got that ATM alarm off. The Horde got in there and involved, and the bonus got melted away, and that held their lead for at least one more chapter. And remember, Rails, we're going to 5 maps, so there's still 2 more maps to go after this. Tank will be sitting at a, what is that, 64%? I think it says. Yeah, 64%. Is that after the event, Rails, in the events, after the event drop? I don't know if that's before or after. It's very interesting because those are 2 totally different tanks. We might see survivors either play inside the store, or we're going to see survivors play in that back room where the bookcases are after they make that drop through the vents. Interested to see which one it's going to be.
I think that it is...
asking you to spec, if you can.
I did.
Okay.
I think that it is right at the event. So, like, in that area where people start the event, they usually fight it, like, outside the room there. I'm fairly sure. It's not... I know it's not post-event. 70 or 80s post-event.
Okay, so we're going to see it before, so... That'll be noted. This is a great opening hit. This is probably ideal of what you want if you're infected for close range. The best tri-cap you can get. You don't want that smoker in the close hallways. Easy to break that tongue. They have Spitter to capitalize. Charger's going to split the survivors. Rochelle's trying to jump to hold that spawn. Here they come. Charger right to the back, and he misses! It's a pound spin, and it's going to turn out to be an enormous amount of damage, Rails, as Rochelle hides in the room, and that's 13%. What a great amount of damage that is.
Oh, that's insanity. Ooh. So basically what happened there is that Charger had a chance to hit a single or a double charge from behind, but instead Pee-wee is going to go slow, playing that first position shoddy, and he's turning around looking at his team like, guys, because right now they found, I think, maybe another set of pills is why they were waiting.
No, he got stuck. He got stuck, Rails.
Oh, no, he got stuck.
That
okay,
gives
well,
them
that's
another hit before the room. This is huge.
Yeah, well, they were also completely split, so I was like, okay, are one of them going forward, the other one going back? Maybe they don't know the map that well, unbelievably so. That's going to be another pound spit going out onto Ellis. Boomer is also going to get a boom onto Coach. I got confused for a second there, MK, because the survivors were in 2 completely different directions. I was like, one of them is waiting. And I thought that because he was sitting in the conference room, he was waiting for pills or something like that. But instead, Rochelle was completely in the opposite direction. And I don't know, they took another, like, little bit of damage for it. But this is kind of absurd after the first 2 hits to have this much damage out at this point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to go on to them. They're a little bit more than 22 or 20% damage has gone out. Here goes another hit. The Charger misses. Smoker misses. Hunter and Jockey do latch on with a quick clear from Charger fist onto Coach. Smoker eventually lands at the end, then gets cleared. And that's another about 6% down. They're almost down to 70, and it's not even 50% of the way through the map yet. Right now, OSU is mounting their comeback opportunity as long as they can capitalize on their tank play coming up and they find another set of pills.
Yeah. The thing about that was a nice play by Nick because he was a little bit split there. Had he actually gotten pulled around that pole, that would have been devastating damage. But instead, I kind of like the way Team OSU are just kind of hitting as soon as they can. They're waiting for choke points, don't get me wrong, but they're playing aggressive on the SI side because they can sense, I think, that the momentum is swinging kind of in their favor. Hunter's going to land onto Nick with a boomer running up to him as well, getting a quad boom onto Team Vaso de Leche. They have to be careful here because they're at 55% and the tank is where I thought it would be, MK. It's going to be when they drop into the event area. So they really don't want Common trickling in on them, and they actually saved the Spitter on Team OSU's side. Actually, it's going to be when they drop into the event area? Yeah, indeed it is. I thought it might have actually spawned up top, but instead it's going to be around here.
Ooh,
they're going to do the event first.
Rails.
Yeah, because the thing is, if they had spawned the tank with that quad boom horde from behind, that would have been completely insane. Charger gets a beautiful spawn, but once again misses a survivor in a short amount of space. That's going to be a jockey landing. That's totally the ping. Having an impact there, but MK, they are melting. Vaso de Leche is absolutely disintegrating in front of our eyes.
Yes, I mean, the Spitter tried to spit where the Charger went. He had believed the Charger missed, but they just taking so much chip. I don't know if they actually started the event. No, they didn't, Rails. That was just from that boom. That was a lot of common catching up with them. But now we do have the tank.
Zemzu has the tank, okay.
Yep, and it's the 4th tank of the game, not the final one. We have one more coming up in Chapter 5, and right now the tank is calling for his spawns to go, 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 and they are not going at all, Rails. They are not going.
They are trying to get an end cap here, I'm fairly sure. Just because they want to bleed the survivors out as much as they can. Pee-wee did just pop pills. Boomer spawns up and does get beautifully popped. If that had landed, that might have been catastrophic. But this tank is content with just kind of throwing rocks at the wall that is right in front of him. And I think the survivor's going to give him absolutely nothing because they know they're bleeding. Ideally, they would have maybe wanted them to, I don't know, send another hit or something before, like, popping pills. But at the same point in time, now they're figuring, okay, tank's going to commit. It's going to be a Hunter, Smoker, and a Charger for the support here. So Zemzu for Team OSU is going to have to go in. I'm just repeating exactly what they said in chat there. I'm not sure if that's actually how to pronounce that, by the way. So I apologize if that's not actually how it is. Anyway, the tank is going to be committing directly in, going for Coach initially in that corner. Then the Smoker pull does go out, does get cleared, but then the tank is going to get the corner onto Sayonara. 2 punches and a third for the end cap. Now the Charger is going to go in, trying to get a stumble, not going to land. Hunter really wasn't behind the survivors there, but now Ellis in the corner, and there's a multi-punch going out onto Ellis and Rochelle. 300 health left, and that's the wipe, MK! There is no way the survivors kited into the same corner in an open field.
Oh my goodness. What a good capitalization by OSU, and on the same aspect, what a misplay by Vaso de Leche. It's unfortunate they both gave him the doubles. I think it was 3 doubles to get the wipe at the end there, wasn't it?
Oh, that's ridiculous. I can't even, like, you're gonna ask me, alright, Rails, what is your expert analysis of what happened there? And my response is, it's just completely ridiculous. Because the survivors, I don't know if they were trying to melee him, I don't know if they were trying to get out of what they thought would be the corner, but if you take a multi-punch in that area, you know, that tank, he had the Smoker go in early, right, and then he got the corner on Nick anyway, even though the pull wasn't really consequential there. Then he targeted again after the Charger, like, pretty much had already spawned. And then when the Charger went and missed, I was like, okay, this is going to be a 2-in-cap tank. Then that scenario happens where the survivors manage to corner themselves, and now you have Team OSU with a chance to really take control of this game. That's a beautiful double cap in the corner, though, by Vaso de Leche, but the spit is...
It's gone! It's a home run. That spit is out of the park. It's out of the map.
The spit just decided to completely warp itself into a different realm of existence.
Yeah, I think I agree. The spit would just disappeared.
Yep,
It decided not to be included.
The 5th survivor is the spitball, exactly.
That's really unfortunate for them. Let's hope they can keep their head in it. That can be quite a morale killer there, and they managed to get through the room quickly out in the open. The Charger comes in late and goes at the end before spawns are ready, and right now nothing's going to land. The quick clears, they do manage to get about 12% of the bonus with 2 hits, but right now OSU has definitely got the momentum in their favor, Rails, and they even get to take the shortcut here, uncontested.
You took the words right out of my brain. That really, really is what we're seeing here, and now the survivors are holding W because they know they can just eat up already half the map in terms of distance after, what, like 2 hits? Because they have control of the pace. Charger, Spitter, Smoker, Jockey, 14 Vaso de Leche on this next hit. They have to do something with it, but this tank that's going to be up in the hands of Pee-wee really, really, really needs to... he's going to have to either wipe or he's going to have to get like 3 in caps or something huge when it comes to this. Charger is going to go in and die. Spit's going to go down on nothing. Jockey gets them 2'd, and MK...
Rails,
oh,
one at a time. They're going one at a time. They got to snap out of this to get their momentum back.
It's visible on the SI side of things. I think they're pissed off about the fact, and honestly, if I were in their shoes, I would be too, about that double corner, because without that double corner, that's a 2-in-cap tank, you know what I mean? And it goes from it being 2-in-caps to it being, you know, a really, really, really interesting wipe. We do have a Boomer up, which is now in bot form, jumping in, and indeed, there is a little bit of common, but honestly, MK, I don't know if that's going to be what really goes on here, because, like, the survivors are just content with killing this hit, killing any straggling common, and the SI are going to have to force them into a mistake in order for this to be a wipe again.
Yeah, this is gonna be a huge momentum swift depending on what happens with this tank for Vaso de Leche. This is so much opportunity for OSU. If they can survive with like just 1 down here, they can make some progress on possibly making a comeback through the rest of this map if they can manage to make the safe room. They do have an event to go through, as well, and a hit there to take, but Right now they have a bigger obstacle to deal with as the retro support is up, and let's see if they're going to sack this boomer, and I don't think they're going to have time rails. They're going to have to go in with retro support.
This boomer in the hands of Cannoli needs to land pretty much at this point, and I think the survivors are wise to it. And they actually open the rocket thing on the side as the tank commits. Boomer does manage to land onto Rochelle. That's huge. And now he's trying to get a double corner as well, but the survivors cut him around. There's the multi-punch going out. He's got the corner to counter that. Rochelle's also in the corner. There's no way. There's no way that we're watching the same thing again. But the tank is actually almost dead. The hunter goes in and does get cleared. Tank whiffs a punch and dies. MK, all 4 survivors are behind the freaking rocket.
And the rocket is going off too.
When we said rocket spawn, that's not what we meant. And the spit goes down, but the survivors are still alive. MK, that was almost disastrous in the same way. And dare I say it, the fact that the tank got that much damage means that there is still a game to be played here. I expect Team Vaso de Leche to call map 5 because they have to wait out this entire event on Survivor side now. They have 2 sets of pills, and by all rights, that also should have been a wipe.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate he missed that double punch. As spawns come in, Charger misses, dies first. Hunter does find a target, Jockey can't, Boomer lands a double, Proxy's on to make a third. I think they should start to push through the vents now, or are they just going to wait? No, they're going to go through the vents now, so now we should see the next hit on the drop. Bonus hitting at 347 as they pop another set of... Oh no, they're taking damage. A lot of common chip coming out here. Couple dozen points go down again, and now they're going to make their way inside the vent. I think they might get a hit here. They're quite separated.
Yeah, Rochelle's behind.
No, they don't cap it. They don't play on it. Interesting.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to hit when all the survivors drop. Let's see if that's actually the case. Just because if they land this charge spit, that could be really nice. Like, they really need another in-cap to slow them down. There's a deceptively high amount of distance still to happen in this map. But let's see here because...
Misplay rail. There's no spit damage there. The
Are you serious?
Yeah, they're going to get nothing if that Charger... Watch. They're not going to get much at all unless there's help from the other SI. I think the Charger's making a mistake here.
It could be, but I think they're also content with the bleed. Let's see if they know
this. He pulled him out.
Yeah, he pulled him out. That's what I thought. It's like, okay, so they're going to wait for the survivors to exit the vent, and that's a great amount of damage onto Rochelle, who is literally just bathing in that spit. They have no damage bonus left, MK.
Yeah, it's all on Ellis and Nick, so they should stack on them two now, because nobody's black and white. They're not going to manage to get a kill. There's only 15% of the map left to progress through. It might just be one more depending on how well this hit goes, and they're going to have to go quickly, because space time's running out. Under lands,
Indeed.
Charger was not ready. They're not capitalized on it. Oh, and the spitter was not ready either. Charger lands. The spitter.
Wow.
Oh, they get it. Oh, so much damage that shouldn't be rails.
Oh, that's insane! That's an in cap onto Nick, and the bonus is down to 60. Team OSU has taken the lead by a paltry 34 points at the moment. It's great for them because it's their first lead of the game, but the thing is they had a chance to score another couple hundred there. They're still getting distance points, so this is still important right now, of course, but their bonus is down to 120 because instead of going for that survivor in the front, the Charger went for the health bonus in the back and managed to get that charge spit down onto him. And now this Hunter is going to be going in as well as the bleed is still going in. There's an ATM being shot, or being walked into rather, as you said, and a little bit of damage onto Ellis as well. 107 bonus left. And by the way, one of the survivors is black and white at this point, so they could also get a kill to get that multiplier down. I don't think it's going to happen at this point though. So Team OSU are going to take the lead in this match by a score of 2,623 to 2,351. We're going to map 5, Mr. MK.
Yes, we are, Mr. Barlow, and we have less than a 300-point game, so this is actually still comebackable. This is not over by any means whatsoever. This is going to come down to bonus. I believe we should see both teams make safe room, in my opinion, and I think they should both be able to make the rescue vehicle. It's going to come down to how much health bonus or how much damage bonus are you going to be able to hold on to, and this is going to be a humongous tank play coming out from Vaso de Leche here. They need to get some damage. I think if you're playing from their perspective, Rails, you need 2 in-caps minimum for the possibility to come back. I think you want more, but that is minimum what you need for this tank, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's something where, wipes on this usually happen with a hittable involved, similar to map 1. What?
It's only 500 distance for this map. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
they
it's
nerfed
so low.
it.
Yes, that changes a lot, Rails. That makes this lead, that 270 some point lead, seem more like 400 and something in my opinion. If it's not 800 distance for this chapter.
Well, yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Hard Rain Map 4, regular Hard Rain Map 4 nowadays. Just because, like, that's what, like 400 distance now or something? So if you have like a 500 point lead on that map, it's pretty substantial. In this situation, though, just based on how the momentum's been going and how both teams have been playing, we saw Team OSU basically surmount a lead of a similar delta earlier. And I wouldn't be surprised if Team Vaso de Leche can do the same. Just because if they get, like, I don't know, a tri-cap at some point, or if they kill someone with a hittable. I mean, I think the hittables on this map, do they in-cap or do they do damage? I'm trying to remember.
They're in caps.
I haven't seen this played in a long ass time.
I'm like 90% sure they're in caps because I remember watching a RBT 5 match that was played in this in the playoffs, and it definitely wasn't in cap unless they've changed it. But here we go, Rails. The final chapter of this tournament match is starting now. Here we go. We get to watch the finale played. Opening hit will be tri-cap with boom. No jockey. Smoker lands. Charger gets 1 fist, 2 fists. Smoker is still not cleared yet as the Hunter lands and the Boomer's going to come in at the end. And that's going to be a good sack order. It should be Charger, Hunter, Jockey, and Spitter for the next hit, Rails.
Yeah, 40 damage with no Spitter on the first hit here is really, really nice by Team Vaso de Leche. They have not given up. And they have a chance with this tank that will be in the hands of Cannoli to really do work in an area where it does depend on survivor separation a whole lot, but where it does favor the survivors, I think, a little bit more, just because there is a usual way to play it. We'll see if Team OSU goes with the meta or what they exactly decide to do. I love seeing creativity when it works on the survivor side. Jockey, Hunter, Charger, Spitter for the next hit for Team Vaso de Leche. They're probably going to send it as the survivors like have to turn a corner here, or at least like funnel themselves just a tad. Let's see exactly what decides to go in here. That Jockey's going to get M2'd. Charger goes in and gets melted, but the Hunter does land with a spit going down on top of Coach for just a little bit of chip MK, but really it's all about that tank.
Yes, it is, but I'm much more happier seeing Vaso de Leche's infected. They are much more in sync now. That Jockey and Charger went together, and then unfortunately it wasn't the best landing, but they are definitely in sync with each other, so they got over that. They're trying to capitalize on their comeback now. Tank is going to come up momentarily. It's actually static, so I'm not quite sure where this one spawns, Rails. I know it's up top around where you would normally turn off the music, but that's not playing. And right now, Smoker dies, Charger gets nothing. This is great shutdown by the Survivor team. And that'll be 3 hits in, a little bit less than 11% bonus taken away from the Survivor team.
Yeah, so Team OSU are maybe going to have to deal with another hit, maybe half a hit before this tank is up, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if that actually is the case as they push their way forward. The Common really aren't doing a whole lot at the moment because they're kind of spawning behind. Coach is clearing out as the other 3 members of his team in the front navigate whatever they kind of find, and this is probably going to be the last hit before tank, depending on how fast the survivors go. And the survivors are trucking it right now because they've got the lead, they've got the momentum, and they know that if they survive this tank in any kind of way, shape, or form, they're going to be in a pretty good position to at least have a sizable chance of defending this lead. That is going to be a pounce spit landing with a jock onto Ellis too. That's a good amount of damage on a Team OSU. I can't believe that actually landed in that room there, MK.
That was very impressive. That Spitter managed to get that in there like that. And that is a good amount of damage nonetheless, just like you called it. Now they've gotten almost 25% of the bonus out, and the tank is not up yet. So now it's turning a little bit better for them. They managed to hold on to that Spitter. They're going to get a 2-2. Charger, Hunter for the combination. They need to go quickly here. The tank's going to be up before they can go with it. They're going to send that Hunter, and the Hunter becomes the tank, but now they need to go with this charged spit. As the Boomer lands on one, the Charger is ready. The Spitter is not. Can he get his spawn? The Charger goes.
Oh!
He lands, and the Spitter's going to land. And it
he body blocked it.
What a play. Exactly 25% bonus now, Rails.
I gotta be honest, I don't know if that was an intentional body block, but that's the second time in a row that I've seen a charged spit land where the Spitter should have been picked by all rights. Anyway, the tank is up into the hands of Cannoli for Team Vaso de Leche, and he right now does have the capacity, I think, to drop on the survivors from above. He's got a couple of toys to play with as well, in terms of that sedan and also that dumpster, but he's got to be careful because the survivors are just leaving him, essentially, and I think they're going to try to either AI him, or they're going to play him in these windows, which is kind of the meta spot that I was expecting, but he's not going to go AI, because indeed he is going to drop down, but he is on second pass. He doesn't really have a hittable, I don't think, to work with as much from this direction, but let's see what he's able to do. He is going to be making his way closer to the survivors with that Jockey, Hunter, and Smoker for his support. He's going to be dropping in now, going to commit. This is the last tank of the game for Vaso de Leche, and he's already down to 4,300 HP before he gets anywhere close to the survivors. Hunter is going to land in the tank, is going to pick up a rock kind of late, does get that actually onto Nick, and then the Smoker goes for him as well. The Jockey lands on a Coach. That is going to be an in-cap going out on to Team OSU, but that's all he's going to get, MK. And this is going to put some pressure on Vaso de Leche's survivor side because they can shut the tank down in that same kind of way, but as you said at the beginning of this map, only 500 distance now, so that lead from the last chapter is indeed going to be a little bit difficult, I think, to surmount now.
Yep, they're still going to get probably 3 more SI attacks before they make safe room. They need to make it count. I think if you're the infected team, you're hoping for at least 10% per hit or more, but I think that's the minimum you can accept right now. They need to capitalize, and right now they're not too in sync, but it managed to land. The Charger comes from a mile away, and it's minimal damage, Rails. They only managed to get 25% more of the bonus down after that tank has been killed, and now they are going to hold the W button and go, go, go. I didn't see the sack order, so I don't know what they're going to have next, Rails. Did you take notice by chance, because I missed it?
Not really. I think they're probably going to be trying to go for a quad, but the reason that I say not really is because you can't really rely on this finale for a comeback. They are going to maybe try to get one with this quad cap attempt. That's kind of what I figured they'd be shooting for, but just the nature of the map is not really geared towards the survivors dying unless they get quadded. In this case, it's going to be a double cap, triple cap going out. Ooh, that is what they needed. As I say that, with 200 ping and a tri-cap, it's a hitman. It's a hitman, exactly. And this Jockey has dropped Ellis all the way back down.
Goodness.
That the reason that I said that, right, is because the tank is usually the place that teams are able to make a comeback, right? But with quad caps, 200 ping, and Horde, that is what they needed to do. They honestly could maybe, well, they're trying to kill Nick because Ellis is already pretty far away. If they had bombed it on Ellis, they might have been able to kill him, but they're going for the kill on Nick instead.
Oh, he's dead.
This is going to be he's dead. That's got him.
Oh, that is so big, Rails.
They're going to wipe here almost.
They're going to leave him? They know they can't get
it.
Yeah,
because two survivors are dead. That's insane. And now the Smoker Pull is going to go out. It is not really going to land. The Jockey is going to land onto Rochelle. And there is a Charger now in the spawn queue in the hands of Pee-wee for Team Vaso de Leche. And he could even go in for some kind of insane double charge here. Let's see what he decides to do, if anything. He is going to go in. Coach is going to go forward, and the Charger is going to decide to maybe go back for Rochelle. And Rochelle hangs from the side as Coach is just going for distance. Oh, MK. MK. This is doable now with, let's see, 211
bonus, 211
to tie and 212 to win,
and it comes in increments of 4. So if they get that, they'll win by 1. If they could get that bonus.
Oh man, that quad, and that's something about zone mod that has really changed the game. Where back in the day, it was just kind of seen that because of the map being that way, it was 800 distance or 700 distance back in the day, and with quad caps introduced though with 200 ping. Changes the nature of the entire game. This is something where now, ironically, Vaso de Leche have a higher percentage chance, I'd say, of making the map than they would on a different campaign. But as we just saw in these kinds of conditions, literally anything can happen, and they chose a hell of a time to have the best hit of the match they've gotten so far.
Absolutely. This is going to be it. This is the final chapter of the tournament match. Second half of Map 5. Actually, to be honest, I don't think it's a terrible finale now that I've seen it, Rails. I just don't like finales where you have to hold out and wait. In my opinion, keep going. I like that a little better.
I like the fact they've nerfed it as well, but this tank in the hands of Nemo for Team Osu is going to have to do a massive amount of work, and if not, they're going to have to rely on that special infected skill as well, at least in display in other chapters. We've got Team Osu in this particular situation. The SI just need to do absolute work, and they need to take advantage of the Horde in the same way that we saw, because both teams playing with close to 200 ping, this is probably the point of the match where the fact that it's on high latency is the most consequential, just because there's the most common infected involved. So it's kind of a variable that the SI can use to their advantage, the exact same way we saw it happen on the last half, and it's going to be on Team Vaso de Leche to try to prevent that. That's going to be a Smoker and a Charger going for the same target, with the Charger whiffing, but then getting a punch onto Pee-wee as this Boomer is still looking to vomit and does manage to land onto Rochelle with that Smoker getting insta-cleared yet again, so a little bit less damage, I think, on that first hit, and it's all in Vaso de Leche's hands on the Survivor side right now.
Yep, they take a little bit damage on one Survivor. 3 Survivors still at 100, 1 at 75, so they'll have 4 punches.
Equalize pings. Let's indeed hopefully equalize the pings, and I love the fact that we can actually do that mid-round. Thank you for accepting the overlords that we've accepted in Left 4 Dead 2 as your overlord as well, Pee-wee, with your ping going up by about 40 points. Thanks to that fake lag plugin. I love the fact that actually exists nowadays because it gives us all of these beautiful 1 games, kind of as I mentioned before, and that's why the stakes are as high as they are right now. This hit's going to be going in with that Hunter getting a quick pounce with a spit, not landing onto Coach instead of the pounce target. Charger may have gotten a scratch there as well. But nothing really substantial, MK. A little bit more spit damage going out now to make it a little bit more impacting, but really not a whole lot.
Nope, they still have 1% more than a perfect score, I'd say. I think 90.4 is a perfect score for a round, which means you could just exhaust the pills at what they're worth. So right now they have 1% more on that, and the spawns are coming up. Tri-cap with Boomer. It'll be Retro with the Jockey. Smoker gets pulled and gets cleared right away. Hunter lands for a few ticks as the Jockey and Boomer were late to the party. As the Boomer gets popped, Jockey gets M2'd, and we should see a charge spit coming up momentarily.
Ammo here.
We sure should, and I think that might be 2 more hits now prior to the tank. Let's see, because this tank in the hands of Nemo, he's going to have the chance to maybe drop on the Survivor's heads or get a couple of hittables in play, neither of which we saw Cannoli do, but it's going to rely on the Survivors either being in position or out of position, as it is so often in this game. We do have the Charger getting cleared, as the spit was just a little bit late to go onto that, just a tick onto Rochelle, nothing onto Nick whatsoever. Smoker and Hunter still in the spawn queue for Team OSU, and the momentum has definitely shifted back into Team Vaso de Leche's favor, but yet again, they have about 700 more bonus that they can afford to lose, if not a little bit less than that, in order to still win this match, and Pee-wee is kind of being the damage sponge, as we used to say in the pro mod days.
Yeah, he is. He's already lost more than half of his HP. The other 3 are still pretty healthy, all bumping above 80. As we're going to have 1 infected still waiting to come up. They have a 2 cap with Spit. They're taking their time here. They have pills in there by the ammo spawn. Spitter up above, Jockey jumping around, Charger looking to come from behind. And it looks like they're pushing really quickly. They're not waiting here. They're not giving the infected the opportunity to hit. Jockey latches on the front. Charger's coming back. It does land as well. It's going to be a charge spit. Spitter does land. Hunter is a little late to the party. Will land and get cleared right away. And that's some good chip. Rails are already down to about almost 75% before the tank. And that was exactly the same the other team was at this exact moment.
Reloading.
Exactly, and now let's see exactly what happens here, because this tank is really the thing, the largest variable aside from a rolling tri-cap or quad-cap that will change this game. And indeed, the tank is going to drop down immediately here and then climb back up. He does have a dumpster to play with to his left, but he's not even going for it because he's going to get closer to the Survivors instead. I really love seeing how different tanks play different scenarios. And he's just kind of hanging out, I think, seeing where the Survivors are going to go. But now he is actually able to intercept them. I'm not sure if they're aware of that. Now they've seen him. He can actually get right down onto their heads. And that's kind of what I said a couple of minutes ago, where the tank has the ability to get on top of them, but he wasn't able to split them. So instead now he's going to be dropping in, going right for Coach, but missing his initiation punch. Now getting his first punch onto Coach. We do have a Hunter on 1 Survivor because they're 2 and 2, but the tank kills the Charger as the Jockey is still alive, getting the corner onto Coach, but that's not enough. Coach is out of the corner. The SI went in because the Survivors were split 2 and 2. Tank is on first pass, but only 2,000 HP left. Oh, goodness gracious. And they still have 666 bonus to their name. Not eating a rock right there either, as they run into the tank's punch. Then the Smoker goes out. The tank gets another punch. He made so much out of nothing. And the rock lands.
What are we seeing? What are we watching right now?
Oh my goodness. This is going to be, if I had any nails left to bite, I would be biting them now. Just because of the fact that they had those 2 survivors split and they weren't able to land a 2-cap, right? It was 2-2 for a good portion of that tank fight. And now this is a less than 400-point game in total. Let's see if the survivors are able to take advantage of this, because the commons are only barely restarting now, and they're already getting distance points. It's about to be a 300-point game. I am smiling so much right now, just because this jockey's going to go in, Charger's not going to land, Spit goes down in front of the survivors. They still have 500 bonus to their name, MK. Oh, it could be an absolute...
Oh, they found pills.
Last minute.
They found pills.
It could be a last-minute come-from-behind victory that we are watching right here. They're saying 300 in the special infected chat, but that they need less than that when it comes down to that. That was about the delta that it was. Actually, that it is right now, I should say. But in total, they really only need that 200 bonus that we were talking about, because the rest of it's distance points. It's a boomer, hunter, spitter, and a smoker for the next hit. And MK, this is an absolute delight of a match to have this early in a tournament. Oh, wow.
Yes, it is. This is a huge amount of damage that needs to come out from the infected team. They have 2 more hits. The hunter does manage to land. The smoker goes, and the spitter misses. The spitter is huge, and he didn't land. Oh, and he's going to hold on to it for 1 more hit. They're not going to go for a quad.
Dead.
Oh, yes, they are. This is it. Last hit coming up, Rails. It's going to be a quad.
And there's a drop that the survivors have to go through. If there's no accidental ledge hangs here or something like that, this is going to be Team Vaso de Leche making their way back from the brink with a gorgeous, just gorgeous special infected sequence on their half, and then a survivor side that might be good enough for them to win it. They have 460 bonus left, but a quad cap to deal with. Hit's going to be going in. Hunter lands. Charger lands a double charge.
No way.
Jockey's going for the cover, not going to land it, but Ellis is the main bonus. Jockey is still trying to land. The smoker gets an insta-smoke. Rochelle fighting for her life with this jockey. They have 285 bonus left, and they need that van to arrive right now, because that is almost as much as they can afford to lose. Now it's 260. This is going to be within 50 points if this score holds up.
Oh, the
it's
boomer
a double boom.
Rails! All they need is the charge spin. This is getting so big.
All they need is one more. All they need is one more pinner with a spit to land, and there it is. That's gonna be the Hunter's landing, and then Nick gets out of the spit. Charger does land, but gets cleared.
They have 3 points. It'll win by 1 if they make it. They'll win by 1 if they make it.
They're gonna win 214 bonus.
They lost.
They lost! No way! No, not quite yet. Not quite yet, because look at where the score is now. Right? They're gonna get in. This is gonna be so close.
Oh my God.
This is one of the closest matches I have ever seen in my casting career.
They're gonna lose by 5.
Oh my God.
Vaso de Leche lost by 5.
Oh my God.
What a game.
Hold on. 3,062 to 2,851 prior to the bonus ticking up. It's gonna be... Come on. They lost by 7 points, MK! They lost by 7 points!
What a match! You couldn't ask for anything more, Rails.
I'm in silence.